a quick overview of the use of the field yachting race metrics web app. On opening the web app, you will see a page like this with very little information. It's because we have no boats, no marks, and no race times recorded. To get started, I'd suggest opening the menu and going to Manage Boats to create a list of boats. Here we can enter a boat name and a time correction factor for time-on-time scoring with the likes of IRC, or you can enter time-on-distance ratings, and these are records in seconds per nautical mile. I'm going to load a list of boats from a previous file. So if I click on load, I can load a full race which has a set of boats. As you can see here, for these boats there are a number more time on distance rating bands, and this is wind speed specific, and for each boat as well there is a TCF. If I go and click on a boat to edit, I can see a TCF for that boat and its ratings for each rating band, its ratings in seconds per nautical mile. It's important to set a reference boat because all calculations are done back to that reference boat's elapsed time and corrected time. If I've manually created a list of boats, I can preserve it by exporting this, and it can export as a JSON file for reloading into the system later. If I click Save and Close, those boats are all saved into my system. However, we still see nothing yet because there are no marks and no times recorded. This is in time-on-time mode, so at the moment there's no data to show. One feature we can use in time-on-time is to have a look at, for a fixed elapsed time, what the rating differences would be. So if I've clicked Set ET, if I select, for example, 1 hour, then we will instantly have calculated from our time correction factor, after 1 hour of elapsed time of the reference boat, what the other boat's corrected times would be for that point. Here we can see the difference in corrected time after 1 hour of the reference boat's sailing, and what those translate to in terms of elapsed time. So in this example, after 1 hour of sailing, Formula X's corrected time is 1 hour, 1 minute and 5 seconds, whereas Stormtroopers is 1 hour, 3 minutes and 12 seconds. That's 2 minutes and 7 seconds of corrected time, but in terms of sailing time on the water, that is 2 minutes and 5 seconds. So now if we deselect Set ET, we don't have any marks, so we're not seeing any more data. If we go into Manage Marks, we can very quickly create a race course. Start. Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3, and finish, and add mark. And we can save and close these marks. So we have some marks available, and we have some boats available. So if we go and set ourselves a start time of say 13:30 and set the start time, we now have a whole new dialog showing up. We have a live counter of our corrected time differences and our elapsed time differences that we need to achieve to be able to beat the other boats. We have a marks table with the boats listed with the start time that we entered earlier at that mark. Now there are 3 ways of recording a boat's mark rounding time. One is to simply click on the boat itself, and we can select which mark from the drop down that they've just gone around, and then click Set. And that will set the time from when we open the dialog. If I want to change the time to now, time equals now, and set, it will reset that time. And click Close. The second method is to actually click in the intersection mark 1 to the boat, and we have Wind Whisper at mark 1, set and close. Okay, and the third option is to click on the mark itself. This brings up a new dialog whereby boats that have already rounded that mark are in green, and I can then go and select the other boats as they round the mark. I can easily go and reset one of them if I clicked the wrong boat, and so now we have all of these boats have rounded this mark. And we have the ranking now at that mark. So Formula X, being the reference boat in grey, we are 8 seconds behind Wind Whisper in real time on the water, 11 seconds behind Xbox, 15 seconds behind Dixie, and 19 seconds behind the X41. We can see the rankings listed on the chart here below, whereas any boat, so the reference boat is always on the 0 time difference axis, and we can see Wind Whisper, Xbox, Dixie, and the first X41 are ahead of Formula X. Exciter is very close behind, and Stormtrooper is a long way back. So if Stormtrooper's had an issue and I don't want her to cloud my graph, I can deselect Stormtrooper, and we can actually get a better representation of how far apart all the boats are. Now if I load a full race, we can see in more detail the power of these charts. I will simply go into race and load data from a saved race. And here we have all the mark rounding timings for a fleet of boats for the offshore race at the ORC Worlds. As we can see here, this is a time correction factor that was used during the race. For those of you who don't know, ORC is a time on distance scoring system. However, for the long race, they run weather routing and decide on a time correction factor for each boat to finish that specific race. And here we can see the distribution of time deltas, where clearly Formula X was leading the race at every mark, and there were some place changes behind her. For example, from Mark Apollo to the next mark, both Exciter and Dixie gained time on Formula X. They were coming back into it, whereas for the first half of the race, essentially, Formula X was extending on the rest of the fleet. This chart and these time offsets are in corrected time. You can view them in elapsed time as well by simply clicking on the button, and it shows these time differences in the elapsed time portion of how far ahead behind they are. You can view this chart in a new table and print it if you wish, save it as a PDF for distribution, and you can then, if you have created all of these race timings yourself, you can then go into that race and you can save that data as a specific race that you can pull back at a later date. If you have a new race, like on a multi-race day, clearly the timings will be different than this one, but if you're going to use the same marks, when you go into menu and set your start time, you have the option to clear all these mark roundings. So click clear, and all the mark rounding data is cleared, and I click set, and so now we've got a new race where I can go and record the mark round timings, or I can revert back to that race because it's been saved, or you can simply come back as I've done here and reload all the race data. Now, looking at the time on distance element, the primary difference is that you will have different rating bands to be able to analyze how you perform against the other boats in your fleet. So if you remember in the Manage Boats dialog, if we go and edit one of the boats, it has a range of time on distance ratings. So close. And we can configure what those are called in these fields in the time on distance configuration. So we can have up to 10 fields, and you can call them whatever you wish. If there is simply a light, medium, and heavy airs configuration that the race committee is using. If you enter the rating band that you want to use, and if you enter a distance here, say after 1 mile, these times come up here of the time that you are supposed to be able to sail your mile in. So these ratings are very close together. So both Formula X and First X41 in theory should finish at exactly the same time. There is only 0.2 of a second per nautical mile difference between them. These are the ratings for each boat in that 12-knot wind speed band, and next to it in brackets is how that translates to in knots. Here is the time difference that each boat is supposed to complete that 1 nautical mile in according to the 12-knot rating. If we go to the 20-knot rating, things will look a little bit different with the different performance curves of boats. And we have the same mark rounding timings as we had in the time on time, but looking at it in terms of time on distance. These rankings are ranked by the last place, by the most recent mark. But in this case here, Wind Whisper was actually ahead of Formula X at this first mark. Formula X sailed 14 minutes and 8 seconds faster than her rating said she should in the 20-knot wind speed band, and Wind Whisper was 24 seconds even faster than that. So Wind Whisper actually sailed that leg 14 minutes and 32 seconds faster than her rating said that she should. It's very trivial to switch between time on time and time on distance. The mark recording times are all the same. It's just the different rating systems are applied to them. There is a user guide describing how the system works with some hints and tips.